Hello, welcome or welcome back. I'm joined by my double-coated breeds here today, dogs. Today I wanted to talk about double-coated dogs because as a groomer I see a lot of, I know the double-coated to shave or not to shave is a big debate. Sorry. Sometimes when I get passionate they get a little, they're just like, what's going on? Why is mommy upset? But I'm just passionate. So I see this when the weather heats up, it's always I want to shave my double-coated breed, and you can do what you want. I'm just going to before because a lot of times the reasons I hear people wanting to shave their double-coated dog are the exact reasons you would not want to shave a double-coated dog. For example, okay, first let me tell you what a double coat is and how it works. So double-coated dogs have two, sometimes even three, some argue, like the Huskies and the Arctic breeds have three but two types of coat. The outer coat that you see and feel, it's kind of rougher, gives your dog the color. It also protects them from the elements and weather. Like golden retrievers, they are basically waterproof. It's just like their coat kind of repels water and dirt a little bit. The outer coat. I mean, not perfectly, but you know, if your dog goes outside, most of the dirt rubs right off, I feel like. So that's the top coat, the guard coat. Yeah, they don't shed as much, have a longer life cycle. And then there's the undercoat. That is what is responsible for the shedding. It changes with the seasons. So when the weather really warms up in the springtime, early summer, you're gonna notice a big change in their coat as they're dropping their winter coat that kept them warm. So the undercoat changes. It's responsible for a lot of the shedding. It's often like a cottony, fluffier, lighter texture, often lighter in color too. Yeah, and that, like I said, that's what sheds out. So now that we understand a double coat, the main reasons I hear people wanting to shave their double-coated dog are because they're hot. Yeah, your dog does have a lot of fur, but like I said earlier, when the weather warms up, their winter coat is going to start to drop. It's called they blow their coat, they drop their coat. I have a lot of people come to me with their double-coated dogs, like their labs, your Goldens, Huskies, and they're like, they just exploded overnight. And I feel like in the beginning of the year, when the temperature is really inconsistent, when it gets hot then cold again, the shedding can kind of like come in waves. But in the beginning of when the weather really changes, you're gonna notice a big coat drop. And like I said before, the top coat, so the top coat doesn't really shed, but the undercoat does. And there is a lot of undercoat, especially like because they're dropping everything that was keeping them warm. They can't fully drop everything on their own. Like, you think there's a lot of hair in your house, you should see how much hair is on their body actually. So there's a lot of extra hair on them that needs to come off. So I think a good first step is often a good bath and de-shed to get all that extra fur off. Because if there's so the shedding hair, it just gets trapped there and it's kind of stuck at the skin, and that's gonna be hot if there's extra fur stuck to you. And also the undercoat really, like the double coat really works by, so the outer coat's gonna protect you from the sun and the weather, and if the undercoat is all like brushed out, there should be air that should be able to flow through. But the air is gonna be like diffused a little bit since it's gone through the top coat and the undercoat, which is pretty thick and dense. So yeah, getting a lot of that extra hair that's impacted in there really helps out. And a deshed treatment is not going to stop shedding. It might actually increase shedding for a little bit, like especially if they're, because you can't get, it's just impossible to get it all in one go. You have to be careful because you can overbrush dogs. But like the days after, brushing your dogs after the days after they get a deshed treatment is you're gonna get so much hair. But also if that it's shedding fur, dead skin, skin oils, it's just dirty. If that's sitting on the skin, it often makes them itchy, so you might notice a lot of itchy pups in the spring's time, and it can just be seasonal allergies, but also if they're not getting that coat out, it's gonna be, those irritants are gonna be in the coat, staying there. So yeah, stand up on deshed treatments and brushing out that coat daily, every other day, at least a few times a week, is really gonna help out, make a big difference. I don't know what point I said that was, because I feel like they're kind of all related. Yeah, because you just want to be careful. If you shave the top coat, it really puts dogs at risk for sunburn. There is doggy sunscreen, but you really just have to be careful. And dogs don't work the same way that humans do. They don't like sweat through their skin, their body. They cool down by through their paws and panting. So making sure their paws are shaved out is a good one. And yeah, just making sure they have water. Yeah, and it's really debated. But another reason I hear people wanting to shave their double-coated dogs are because they shed too much. And yeah, they do shed a lot. I mean, but that's why I like to encourage people to research before getting a dog. Cause I mean, okay, back to how the double coat works. The top coat, the guard coat, doesn't shed that much. The undercoat is what changes and sheds and drops. The guard hairs don't grow as fast. The guard hairs, top hairs, don't grow as fast as the undercoat does. So, if you shave a double-coated dog, hairs don't, they're gonna shed regardless, no matter how long they are. Okay. Because hairs shed in a life cycle. Changing their length doesn't change that life cycle. So now your dog's still gonna shed. You're probably gonna notice a lot more shedding since the guard hairs aren't there stopping anything. Like they were stopping a lot more. But like I said, it's just gonna keep growing. But now that the guard hairs aren't there, and they're gonna take a lot longer to grow back, there's gonna be nothing to stop the undercoat from shedding, and it's still gonna shed. And now these hairs are shorter. They're often pokier and more stubborn and harder to get out of your furniture. So it really won't help the shedding. Another thing I hear is that it's a lot of maintenance. Like a double coat is a lot of maintenance, especially like the longer haired ones. Which, yes, it can be a lot of work, but often shaving is I mean, if you want to keep up with it, okay, but if you want it to grow back, it might not. It might, but the growing back process is it's rough because the undercoat grows so much faster than the guard hairs. There's a lot of, you gotta do frequent bathing and brush outs, which is something you should do, but really when the coats are at different lengths growing back. Matting and tangles are easy to happen, and the hair often ends up dry and brittle. Yeah. So, I mean, if this one, I want to be really careful when I say this, but I think something that gets overlooked when we talk about dogs being too hot is body condition. I see a lot of dogs that, and I know it's not always, it's not, like, it's easy to not know, but I would encourage you to, because it's not always about weight, I would encourage you to look up body condition score. Because if your dog is carrying around extra weight, that's going to be a lot of extra work. It's going to be hard for them to cool down. So that would also be something to consider if your dog seems really uncomfortable in the heat. Just consider that. And like I said, it's not shame. I just want to help. This isn't hate. I'm not telling you, because it's your dog, you can do what you please, but often the results people are looking for are not going to be achieved by shaving the dog. I really, and I just want, so before you do it, I want you to understand that it may not grow back right. If that is something you're okay with, that's fine. It may, you just really got to be careful. I mean, if your dog's an indoor dog most of the time and you don't really got to worry about sunburn, if the difference between your dog being matted and impacted and taken care of is getting it shaved, a shorter cut, then I'm not telling you can't do that. Yeah, I just wanted to share that a lot of the reasons I hear are often shaving is not often going to give you that result. So what I would recommend, if your double-coated dog is shedding too much or you think they're too hot, I would start with de-shed treatments or good brush outs. There's plenty of videos out there on tools and education. I could also make some. Yeah, especially at the beginning of the spring when things start to warm up, and just staying on top of it would help out with getting that extra hair off your dog. Just know the risks. Yeah. Thanks for listening to what I gotta say, and thanks. Bye.